So who is paying the tariff? Well, this chart shows you that it's the U.S. importers, the U.S. importers. So let's say that you're importing that widget, you're still paying the $100 for it, okay? But then you're taxed on like a sales tax on top of that. So you're taxed at, let's just say, 10%. So you would pay $110 for that. And then you're not passing those costs on to the actual consumer. Let me go back to our chart. So what I was saying is the U.S. importer would pay $110. And so they're just eating that $10 because they're not really passing it on to the consumer yet. So they've had decent margins. So let's say in the past they were importing that, they're paying $100 and they're charging the customer $120, the US customer. Okay. And then so they had a $20 margin there. Well, now they're paying $10, they're keeping their costs the same. Why? Because the US consumer can't afford higher prices. And the US importer knows that. So they know that if they increase the price and try to pass that cost of the tariff onto the consumer, demand is going to shrink and they're screwed. They're going to really lose volume and lose revenue, lose profit. So instead of doing that, they would actually, although they're decreasing their margin, they want to continue to hopefully have a similar amount of volume, and they've done the math and that works. That's what works best for them. So instead of making that $20 by charging 120, paying 100, now they're paying 110 because they have that $10 of tariffs. And then they're only making the $10 because they're still charging the customer 120. That's the bottom line. And the Chinese widget maker or Malaysia or whatever, they're still making the $100. And you can see that by this chart. Because if the Chinese widget maker was paying the $10, then the price of what they were charging would obviously go down. Because again, this chart, this price index does not include the tariffs themselves. Okay, now let's move on to consumer sentiment. And this was the University of Michigan.